A bird sang this song to me. There was a message in its melody, sweetest lyrics that I ever heard. There's a message in the songs of birds. He said, tomorrow is another day, but living is the only way that tomorrow's gonna ever come. Listen to the words of the song. Everything gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be.
Greetings and welcome to A Sip of Inspiration. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, the Empowerment Doctor, and I am your host for today's show. This season, we've brought you interesting topics such as the new science of forgiveness, where we talk about the importance of forgiveness, and it can be used to improve your health, it can be used to improve your finances and your level of happiness. We also talked about 3 ways to market your business. Actually, there were more than 3 ways. There were 3 shows to market your business for less than $100. And when we finished that series, we left you with $25 in your pocket. So don't start spending it now, because I promise you we will come back and we will look at what you've done with that $25 and what you should have done with that $25. We've talked about loving yourself. We've talked about writing letters for forgiveness. And we've talked about how to eat healthy in a food desert. And in that food desert, we showed you ways to get healthy spices, to get water, how to choose your meats, because we know that most Americans live more than 2.3 miles from the nearest grocery store and don't have any access to fresh produce. Today, we were going to continue the same pattern, but something interesting happened to me yesterday. And I was talking to a friend who was talking about how life was hard. They had done some terrible things in their life, and they were unable to forgive themselves, and nothing good was going to happen. So today, we're going to talk about one of the laws of money, and that is the law of expectation. We're going to dab a little bit into how you really do get what you expect to get. How you cannot rise above the level of your conversations. I know you all have heard that from me before, so I want you to get some paper, because this is going to be a real down-home show where we get nitty-gritty into all of the emotions behind the things that are keeping you broke. I don't care what's happening in the economy. You don't need an economy. What you need is a better belief and a better thought. So until then, we're going to take a quick break. Get some paper, pencil, and be prepared to do the work.
Only 10% of us get enough daily exercise.
And that number is dropping.
Nearly 30% of us are overweight or obese.
As a result, we now have a shorter life expectancy than our parents.
But give us the right start in sports, and we'll never stop.
Learn how at activeforlife.ca.
Hey, Sarah.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
Been doing like I taught you. Love the new tattoo, Sarah.
Dude, that's Sarah. The girl in the pink shirt. That's the girl I was telling you about.
Theater 2 on your left. Hey, Sarah. What color underwear today?
Hey, Sarah. So when are you going to post something new?
Anything you post online, anyone can see. So think before you post.
Greetings and welcome back to A Sip of Inspiration. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, the Empowerment Doctor, and I am your host for today's show. Now, as I said in the opening segment, we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about one of the laws of money. Now, if you use your wonderful cell phone to access information online, I want you to access information about money, about debt, eliminating debt, about how to preparing yourself to have more money. And there are 2 authors that I really like. There's a series of articles called The Law of Financial Success on the internet by Dr. James Salmon, and there are a series of free articles, as well as there's a book entitled Working with the Law by Raymond Hollowell. I like both of those, but there's a lot of information out there because everyone needs to read as much as you can, because the more you read, the more you will begin to embody the principles of having money. Now, I had a conversation yesterday with a very good friend that talked about shame. This person had done something that they felt like they should have known better, and that everyone was disappointed to them. And I guess at some point they expected the earth to open up and swallow them in. Now, there is no one on this planet who is perfect. God didn't make perfect people, nor, depending on which religious text you read, the Bible, God didn't call perfect people. Every major character in the Bible did some major sin, from killing people to having people killed, to causing famine, to imprisoning their brothers. And the blessings that they reaped anyway because of that thing called forgiveness. So I ask you, when you forgive, are you remembering to forgive yourself? Because the things we do because we do them with the information that we had at the time. Had you known better, you would have done better. So start by forgiving yourself. And until you can forgive yourself, you can't begin to expect more. We often have conversations about, oh, if I won the lottery, I would do this. And I call that the lottery conscious. And it's a fun conversation to have, so people have it. Or they say, if this happened, I would do this. But then on the next breath, we have a problem with rich people. We have a problem with how they spend their money. We have a problem with how somebody else spends their money to buy something that we don't think that they need. And the reason we don't think that they need it is because we are judging their life by our life, and we don't think that we need it, or we don't think that we deserve it. So I want you to watch your conversations, for your mouth will tell you what the issues of your heart are. So if your mouth says, oh, I can't pay that for that dress, or oh, I can't do this, or oh, I can't go that way, oh, girl, I can't afford that. And those are all of the conversations that I hear from friends and people alike. Then what you're saying is that you never expect to be successful. Here's one common conversation. Hi, let's get together and let's go to someplace exotic next year. Oh, I'm broke, I can't go there. So what you just said is, I don't have any money now, nor do I plan to have any money in the future. So we are already saying and planning to be broke 365 days from now. And as you know, that is totally unacceptable to me. So I want you to, first off, get a journal. And I want you to write on that journal and call it the judgment journal. And it doesn't have to be an official journal. It can be a notebook pad. It can be a composition book, but someplace where you can jot down all of the judgments that you make in the course of a day and mark them good or bad. And for those of us who think that we only make good judgments during the course of a day, we'll be surprised about how many bad judgments we make, not only about ourselves or about other people, because we're constantly judging and constantly deciding by some set of facts unknown to us what somebody else should do or would have did or could have done in their situation. And that's where we need to stop. We need to take all of our energy and all of our thought and focus it on us. For the person you see in the mirror is the only person you can change. And that's the person that you need to learn to love, to forgive, and to accept them exactly the way you would love someone else. Okay? Now, perfect segue to the next segment. I want you to write down the name of somebody that you love. And then I want you to think about all of the things that you do for that person you love. Okay. Now, I want you to love yourself like you love that other person. So all of those things that you do for that other person that you love so much, I want you to do them for yourself. So, do you go out of your way to do stuff for that person? Well, I want you to clear time on your schedule to do stuff for yourself. Are you always thinking about them? Do you send cards or flowers? Then I want you to send cards and flowers to yourself. Are you always thinking about ways you can compliment them? Then I want you to compliment yourself. And I want you to practice doing that every day. And starting this moment now, do not walk past a mirror or anything where you see your reflection without stopping and acknowledging how wonderful, powerful, and creative, beautiful, or handsome that you are. I want you to do that every single time you see your reflection. Now that we've set some ground rules and you're watching your mouth, I want you to think about if someone showed up and gave you $100,000 today, what would you do with it? And now that you've written that down, I want you to think about how you feel. How did that make you feel, getting that $100,000 windfall? All of a sudden, are all of your problems going to come to an end? Who are you going to bless with that, as people like to say? Who are you going to help? And are you on your own list? Because if you aren't first on your list, then you won't have any time or energy to help someone else. So I want you to make sure that you are first. Now, the law of expectancy simply states that you get exactly what you expect to get. Now, I didn't say it said you get exactly what you say you're going to get. It gets exactly what you expect to get. And if you want to know what you expect to get, I want you to think about what you believe about money. So, and what you believe other people should do with their money. That will tell you exactly what you expect. So, if you see someone with a high-end handbag, what do you think about that? That tells you what you expect to get. If you see someone in a fancy car, what do you think about that? That tells you what you expect. And if you always expect to not have the best, then you will never have the best, because we actually achieve 85% of the things we expect to achieve. We also achieve 94% of all of the goals that we set and work toward achieving. So if you don't have written goals, that's a good place to start, then you have no chance of winning. And without written goals, you're only going to achieve about 3 to 6% of that you think you want to achieve. So you have to have goals. And when you set goals in every area of your life. So you need to have financial goals, of course. You need to have physical goals. You need to have health goals. You need to have goals for your community, friendship goals, relationship goals. So maybe your goal for your health would be to eat better. Now you need a plan of action for how you're going to eat better. So what steps are you going to take to start to eat better? And you need to write those down. And if you're going to lose weight, you need to write down the steps you're going to take to lose weight. And you've got to write down why. Why do you need to eat better? Why do you need to lose weight? What about education? What do you need to do and why? And then you're going to look at those goals every week at the end of the week and gauge your progress. Some weeks are going to be better than other weeks. That's just how life is. But I promise you, if you stick to a goal for 100 days, you will find that you have achieved about 85% of that. Because action toward goal is expectancy in action. So when you are making choices about food, when you're deciding things like, well, instead of eating fries with that sandwich, I'm going to have a salad with that sandwich. And then next time, maybe I won't have a sandwich. I'll have salad and some vegetables, when you're constantly taking positive steps toward your goals, there will be that day when you have chocolate cake anyway, okay? There'll be that day when maybe you'll have pizza and fried onion rings. But most days will be healthy days. And at the end of 100 days, you will see that if you didn't meet your goal, you've met 85% of that goal. And 85% achievement toward any goal is a good thing. Same with money. Let's say you decide you're going to be debt-free, and that's always what we teach on this show, is for you to be debt-free. So let's say you're going to pick that one credit card that you're finally going to pay off, and you're going to use the snowball effect that we talk about on this show, or some other effect that we've talked about, the envelope effect, or effects that you've learned online yourself. And you're going to write a goal. So maybe that goal is to not add any more expenses to any credit cards, to start to live off of cash. Now, for those of you who are shaking in your shoes, who think that the cash gods are going to run away or something, and the credit card gods are going to open up and swallow you whole, that won't happen. So pick one, and let's say you work toward that, and that's your goal for the end of this year, and you're going to put all of your extra money toward that one credit card. At the end of the year, you will find that you have either met it by 100% or 85%, because your actions have changed how you see yourselves and what you believe to be true for yourself. And that's what we're going to have to start to do. If it's a forgiveness issue, I saw a play a long time ago, and one of the saying is you need to get off the cross because we need the wood. We are constantly punishing ourselves for stuff that only we remember. Nobody else remembers it. And everybody else has their own stuff because nobody's perfect. So we do need you to get off the cross because we need the wood, okay? So we need you to forgive yourself. We spent a whole show on the new science of forgiveness talking about various ways to forgive yourself and why it's important. Find a way. And if you think writing it down is too hard, then go to a mirror and do some mirror work and say, I forgive myself, and call your name for doing so-and-so. And then just don't do it again. So if you all have ever set out and watched animals, there's a joke where a guy was sitting on a porch and there was a pack of dogs running, and 4 dogs, and they got him to a fork, and 3 of them went to the right, but the 4th one went to the left. And when he got there, he realized he went the wrong way. And what did he do? He turned around and he went back and he went to the right. He didn't stop and ask for forgiveness. He didn't stop and cry. He didn't have a pity party. He didn't eat a lot of chocolate. He just corrected his actions. So that's all you need to do, is to just forgive yourself and correct your actions. It is not about wallowing in it, because what you think about, what you feel, and what you do determines what you will have in this world. So if you're constantly harping on some deed that you did, you're going to always have that hanging there, and that deed is going to follow you, and you're never going to be able to get out of that funk. Now, do your forgiveness work and do a little atonement. If you hurt somebody, ask for their forgiveness. They don't even have to be alive for you to ask for their forgiveness, because you know I believe energy never dies. So you just ask for their forgiveness. And then you ask the divine presence for its forgiveness. And then you ask yourself, and then you forgive yourself, and then you get up having been forgiven. Now, when you start looking at the law of expectancy in money, a lot of things start to happen. All of a sudden, not only are you definite about the steps that you need to take, knowing though that with more steps, things are going to change, so that plan you have, be open to allowing that plan to change. Because as you take one step towards something, you will find that maybe two or three other things will take care of themselves, because that's just how this universe works for us. So as we start diligently focusing on the actions to take to achieve a thing, the universe will go and take some steps too. Just know that. So don't be so hard and fast on that plan. Allow that plan to morph. Every time you think you can't do something or think you can't have something, I want you to ask yourself why. And when you ask yourself why, I want you to think, are there any childhood memories that are holding me back? Ask yourself if perhaps the way you saw money handled in your family is the same way you handle money, or some of your beliefs are the same beliefs that you heard discussed in your family or among your current circle of friends. Maybe the story was there was never enough money, never enough to save, never enough to do this, never enough to do that. So you're finding out that as you embark on this challenge to expect more good in your life, that you are having the same challenges, because that is what you were taught. So then you're going to have a really frank conversation with yourself about what it is you want to accomplish and why. Why is very important. You want health so you can live longer, so that you can see your children grow up and play with your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren. What are the reasons? Be real clear about that. And then go back into those childhood stories, and now that you're older, look at what happened. Is your memory correct? Because a lot of times our memory is not correct. So it may not have been that there really wasn't enough. Maybe it just wasn't enough to buy you a bike because you don't keep up with the bikes you have. Maybe it wasn't enough to buy you that new dress because you always put your clothes on the floor and didn't take good care of them, or you always let your friends borrow them. So maybe that story is a little bigger than you know, and maybe it could be you just didn't need anything else, that you had all that you needed. And sometimes we will use things and crutches as a crutch, and money as a crutch also, in order to make us feel better about ourselves. But if you're always going to need the opinion of someone else or money to make you feel good about yourself, you're always going to be hungry when it comes to feeling good about yourself, because that comes from within. Now, I know I've given you a lot to think about this first segment of the show, so we're going to take a quick break, allow you to take a deep breath. I want you to continue to breathe, and we'll be back for more.
Why would you bully me?
Why would you bully me?
Why would you bully me?
Because it makes you feel cool? Because I'm different?
Do I touch a nerve?
Does making me feel bad make you feel good?
Why?
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 Bullying hurts. Bullying abuses. Bullying kills. Why would you bully me?
Oh, man. Oh, dude, check it out. I'll see you back with pleasure.
Compound A, 46.7% by weight. Compound B.
Once you post your image online, you can't take it back. Anyone can see it. Family, friends, anyone. Remember, think before you post.
Welcome back to A Sip of Inspiration. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, your host. And I know the first segment was really, really heavy, so I want to warn you to expect more of the same in this segment. So I'm going through one of the Law of Expectancy lessons that I love from one of my favorite authors, James Salmon. So here are some of the questions we talked about that he suggests that we ask. And I want you to think about these questions. One of them is Do you adopt the attitudes about money from other people around you? Some of us don't have hard and fast ideas or rules about money, so we just listen to whatever anyone says, and then we take that as truth. And we need to ask ourselves, is that our truth, or is that someone else's truth? Do you think that you don't deserve to be successful? A lot of people don't think they deserve to be successful. One of the issues that I used to have was when I thought about success is, oh my God, you know, I don't have but 2 friends now, so what's going to happen to me if I'm successful? Are those 2 friends going to like me, or am I not going to have any friends? So you've got to think about that. So do you think you need to be successful? Do you deserve it? Another thing is, do you think you're smart enough or sufficiently educated enough to earn money to get ahead? A lot of people think success has to do with being smart, and a lot of people think that you have to be really, really educated. Currently, there are tons and tons of stories that are being revealed about people who were very successful and they weren't educated. Founder of FedEx was one of them. And I only mention him because we had a conversation about him yesterday. So it doesn't have anything to do with that. What it has everything to do with is discovering what you love to do. And we make that process so difficult. We say, oh my God, Stephanie, what's my passion? I don't know. Guess what? You're the only one that knows, because you're probably already doing it. So what do you do for free? What do you do that you love? And better yet, what do you do that has your friends always calling you? You know, your friends are always calling you, asking you to do that thing for them or help them with that stuff. What is that thing? What is that stuff? Then that is your passion. And then I want you to know that passion isn't stagnant either. So what you love to do, say for the next 2 or 3 years, could possibly change. And then you could get a new passion. And that's okay too, because we ebb and flow. We're not stagnant either. And if you've ever done any yoga and you've done the tree pose, and I would do it if I wasn't mic'd up, you would notice that in order to stay in that pose, it takes a lot of movement around, a lot of balancing. There's a lot of ebb and flow. Well, your passion is like that too, and your life is like that also. So give yourself a break and just figure out, what do you love to do? And if you can't figure it out, ask your friends. They'll tell you. They will tell you in a heartbeat. And it will surprise you because you're thinking that that thing is not valuable. The other thing is, what is your real attitude about money? You've got to be really clear about that. It's actually one of my favorite things to play with. So I want it to be one of your favorite things to play with. But remember, money is a tool, and a tool only. It's how we keep score to see if your ideas are working and paying off. That is it. It doesn't love you, it can't feed you, it doesn't hug you, it doesn't keep you warm at night. That's not money's purpose. Money is just a tool, and I want you to remember that. So you start changing your attitudes and ideas about how you deal with money in a couple of simple ways. There is a whole list of studies about affirmations, and those are affirmative statements that you say to yourself, and I've used them, and they've worked for me. One of my favorite one is, I give thanks for everlasting health, wealth, youth, and beauty. And I started using that one to heal from a basal skull fracture, especially when I read that only 4% of the people with basal skull fractures heal. I wanted to be in that 4%. So that's what I kept telling myself all day long. I start off telling myself that 10 times every hour, and then every time I had a free moment, I would tell myself that. Then I would write it down at night 25 times. So I'm going to ask you to do some of the same things, because you've got to force a new idea inside so that the old ideas can come out. Here's one that is suggested, is every day in every way, I am getting better and better. When I was dealing with high blood pressure issue after meditation, I would come out and say, every day in every way, I am getting better and better. And I'm got better, and my blood pressure is, for me, is very normal. And the doctor is so surprised that this happened too, because I had to get a better idea about it. Another one is that Every day in every way, I am becoming more successful with my money. So write that down. Write that down in your journal. Write that down on a piece of paper. Put it everywhere you go. So put it on the mirror where you brush your teeth. Put it on the mirror when you're combing your hair. Put one on your closet door. If you live anywhere you are, put that statement. Every day, in every way, I am becoming more successful with my money. You have got to change your attitude about it, and you got to do it like your life depended on it, because guess what? Your life depends upon it. Okay. So, and if you like a simple one, just say, I'm good with money. I'm good with money. I'm good with money. I'm good with money. And every time you're distracted to think about what somebody else could be doing with their money, right now, if you read Facebook, everyone's waiting for somebody else to save you. Guess what? Look in the mirror. That's who's going to save you. You're going to save yourself. So you write these affirmations down, and you go over them, and you say them to yourself at least in the morning for 5 minutes, and at least at night. Then I want you to make an audio recording. And everybody has a smartphone or access to one. And I did this years ago, and it worked wonders. And you record that onto that audio memo. It doesn't have to be but a minute long. And then you play it back to yourself every day. Your voice is the most powerful voice to you. You will follow any commands that you give yourself. That's why your self-talk is so effective, be it be good self-talk or not so good self-talk. So if you tell yourself you're looking wonderful, you're going to feel like you're looking wonderful. If you tell yourself that something bad's going to happen, or you don't deserve to have any money, or you're never going to be able to drive a new car, then guess what? You're not going to be able to drive a new car, because you believe what you tell yourself. So let's tell ourselves something different. Let's train our minds to accept the new us. So I want you to make your note that your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between good or bad, right or wrong. It just knows to do. Your conscious mind knows. So as you pull those things up out of your subconscious and replace them with these new thoughts and these new beliefs, then you will find that you will become financially successful. But I need you to watch and take a note of all your financial successes. What will not happen, more than likely, is you will not go from broke today to $1 million tomorrow, because your consciousness didn't grow that fast. Now, if it did, it'll happen. So I want you to look at all of the small things that begin to happen. Everything. So you may notice that your monthly payments on things are lower. You may notice that, oh, you don't need as many car repairs, or that nothing broke down in the house. You may notice you were able to save a little more. You may notice that you found ways to save money on food, or however you did that. But you're going to see small things, and as you pay attention to and be grateful for those small things, you will begin to see larger things. It gets bigger. And then one day you'll sit there and you'll say, gosh, 3 years ago I could have never imagined that I was in this place. I didn't think that, because it happens slowly over time, and it happens naturally and organically. So you won't remember how you saved the money to make the down payment for the new car or to pay the new car off. You won't remember how all of a sudden you went from not being able to buy fresh vegetables at all to now only being able to eat fresh vegetables. You won't remember that, because there will be no pain. It will be an easy, smooth process, the way it should be. Just like those attitudes you adopted, you don't remember how you first began to believe that. That wasn't a process that said, hey, wake up, you're going to start to believe this. It's the same thing when you reverse it that way. Now, I want you to also take some financial classes, because I want you to know and learn about money. I want you to stop being afraid of financial instruments. I want you to learn the difference between a money market account and a CD. I want you to go online and see what the best banks are. I want you to learn the difference between what an interest rate is and an APR. I want you to learn the difference between a Roth IRA and a plain 401k. I want you to, and all that's on the internet. So, but I want to encourage you to get to your local colleges or junior colleges or even to some of your local banks or financial institutions, because a lot of them have free classes where they will teach you about the various financial instruments. Because until you can put a clear signal in your life that you are ready to change, change will not happen. So there is no money fairy. If there were, she would be here with me. There is no Easter Bunny. There's no knight in shining armor. There is no Santa Claus. No one is coming to save you. You are sent to save yourself. So see, you are your own money fairy, your own knight in shining armor. You are your own Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. You are. And that's what I want you to start to know. I want you to expect to be successful all the time. Even when it doesn't look like success and you have to pull back the ooh and the poo, I want you to see some success in that. I want you to find the good in absolutely everything. There's some good anyway. Sometimes the teen ain't she better good, but there's some good in there anyway. And I need you to start to find that good. So you're going to start with affirmations, and you're going to say them at least twice a day. And then I want you to write them 25 times at night before you go to bed. And then I want you to begin to work into, like at lunchtime, where you're saying your affirmations and you're reading something positive, something that uplifts you, something that keeps you grounded and excited. And as you're in this place, any of those people that you are attached to who make you feel bad, I just want you to end those attachments. Because remember, you only get what you expect, and the time that you're feeling bad, the heart speaks volumes about what you expect, and I want you to start to expect good. I know that's a lot again. I'm going to give you a minute to breathe. Woosah, woosah. And we're going to take a break, and while we're taking a break, I want you to try out that tree pose I talked about.
When you don't have a safe place to come home to, nothing in your world seems right.
This is a place where I don't feel alone. This is a place that I call my home.
Help turn things around for a child. Become a foster parent.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend.
As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday.
It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan.
Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 Greetings and welcome back to A Sip of Inspiration. This is Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, the Empowerment Doctor, and we're cruising into about the last segment of this show. So we talked about, and we have been talking about, the law of expectancy. And we've been talking about it as how it relates to money and your finances. And however, it's a real thing, so it's going to relate to more than your finances. It's going to relate to your health. It's going to relate to your relationships. What you expect to get, remember, you get 85% of what you expect to get. And then when it comes to your goals, you achieve about 90% of what you plan to achieve. So we want to watch what we expect, and we want to change that. And we want to make sure that we have action steps and goals to achieve those actions, the goals to achieve those backwards. We have goals and action states to achieve those goals so that we can achieve what we want to achieve. If you don't plan, you won't be successful. So there's that quote that says lack of planning is planning to not succeed. So you won't succeed. You have to have action steps. And in order to stay focused, you have to know why. Without the why, you don't achieve anything. That's why we can't stick to our New Year's resolutions, because we make these resolutions and we don't talk about why. So we say we're going to lose 10 pounds, but we don't talk about why. Why do we need to? And if you can remember why you need to do something, then you are 10 times more likely to achieve that. So those are important things. So you've got your journal, you have your affirmations, and you've got some statements that I shared in the last segment of this show. And also you've got that judgments journal. So I want you to see just how many judgments you make in the course of a day. You'll be surprised. This time we're going to talk about the law of thinking. So thoughts are things, and I know you've heard that before. Thoughts are things. I'm the thinker that thinks the thoughts that rule my world. Thoughts are things, and scientists have proven recently over the last 10 years, but they have really been on fire in the last 3 years, proving that thoughts are not only things, but thoughts run through your entire body. So what happens is you think this thing and you feel this thing, and then your heart trains your brain, and then your brain trains your body, and automatically you're doing things on automatic pilot, and you don't know why. It's because this whole body and this system of thought is an incredibly intelligent, complicated system. So your thoughts are running your body. Your thoughts even determine your body type. Your body is configured to go along with what you believe to be true about yourself and your life. It's through the thoughts that will trigger emotions. And if you need to know or want to know what you really feel, what does your heart say? And what comes out of your mouth? What just comes out of your mouth? And if you're under pressure or angry, that's generally when you're telling the truth. So think about what you say and what you are saying, because that's how you really feel about it. And once you know how you really feel about something, then you can work to change the emotion by changing the thought, which will change everything that's happening in your body, in your environment, in your affairs, and of course, in your money, because your money is a part of your affairs. Money is not different. So, and it's not as easy as just thinking happy thoughts. I know people say, oh, I'm just supposed to think happy thoughts. Happy thoughts. It's not quite that easy. However, when you consistently look at a thing and deliberately find some good in that thing, you're changing your thoughts. You're changing them organically because you're looking behind the surface into the good of their thing. Nothing is one-dimensional, and nobody's one-dimensional. So nothing's all good, nothing's all bad. So no matter what's going on, there is some good in that. So I want you to take some time to look at the good that is inside of whatever it is that you're experiencing. Then I want you to create your own thought world. So you're going to have to spend some time every day thinking about what really good things happened to you that day. Did you receive any unexpected help, compliments? And what are you actually grateful for in your world, regardless to what that thing is, that white stain in your black carpet, regardless of how that happened? What else is good in your life? And I want you to think about that. And if you find yourself in a really tough place, I want you to use this technique. I want you to think about some time when you were really, really successful, where something went your way, where you won something or achieved something that you didn't think was possible, and people even told you, I didn't even think you were going to be able to do that. And you did it. I want you to think about that. I want you to bring that thing to mind right now. And it doesn't have to be a great big thing, because all too often we think our lives should be like Oprah, or everything has to be at the Kardashian level. But not everything has to be like that. And not everything is like that with them. In the hands of a good publicist, your life would look like them. So we just don't have good publicists. That's all. Our PR people suck. We just need better PR people. So think about something that you did that was absolutely fantastic. You achieved it, and you didn't know how you were going to do it. You may have even been practicing for it and planning for it, but you weren't quite sure how it would turn out. But you did it. Think about that thing. Think about it right now. Now, I want you to put these two fingers together while you're thinking about it. And then I want you to come up with a word that you're going to name that scenario. Now I want you to let it go. So every time you find yourself thinking about something negatively, because thoughts are things, they run our body, they run our minds, they run our worlds, they run everything. They are things. I want you to go back to that scenario, and if you can't go back immediately, I want you to think about that word you just gave that scenario, because that will take you back into that. Or I want you to just put your two fingers together like this, and you will remember that there are times when you were successful, you didn't know how you were going to achieve it, but you did it, and that this time is not going to be any different. And what you will do is you will change your whole energetic system, and then you will be able to get back into that place. So whatever you're dealing with then will be successful. So that word you thought about is your power word. So whatever's going on, and if you need that power word, I want you to just use that power word. And the power word can be anything. Mine is amazing, okay? It can be anything you want it to be, because it's your word. So it doesn't matter. No one knows what your word is but you. But I guess you all know my word, but no one knows what your word is but you, because it only matters to you. And it will bring you back to that place where you are back in control, and you are in the middle of activating the law of thinking and the law of expectancy. Another thing that I want you to do going forward is I want you to start to look at things, and in your mind, I want you to build a video as to how that thing should turn out. How do you want it to turn out? What do you expect to happen? That's what I want you to think about. Not what you don't expect, but what do you expect? I want you to think about that. So then, when you go through that situation, you know what you expect, you know what to negotiate. And then whatever's happening at the other end or the other person, you still know what you need in order to feel successful. And you will find, often than not, that that is exactly what will occur to you in that space. Another thing is, some of these topics we discuss often in spiritual housekeeping. So another thing that goes along with this is, we did talk about forgiveness. Remember, forgiveness is key. Forgive every day, forgive often, Forgive everything. Forgive the person that cut you off in traffic. Forgive the person that was having a bad day. And remember, everybody has bad days. So give the people some grace. No one has a perfect life. Everybody has stuff happening. Then remember, you're going to learn to love yourself like you love other people. So you got that list of stuff that you're going to do. So as you're doing all of that, you are embodying new thoughts and new feelings and new emotions. And you've got more to be grateful for. And as you do this, you will find your life changes. Now, I want you to watch also television that you watch, music you listen to, books you read, conversations you have, because all of that will play into your level of expectancy also. So I want you to spend a little less time watching other people win the Super Bowl of their lives, and I want you to spend a little more time working to win the Super Bowl of your life. So that means less television time. That means less social media time. I want you to read more. I want you to learn what you need to do and become really serious about the goals that you want to accomplish. So if you entered into my 100-day challenge right now, what would your goal be? And in this challenge, there are 3 milestones. What's your first milestone? What do you want to have accomplished in the first 30 days? What would you have want to accomplish in the next set of 30 days? And now you're coming up to the home stretch. You got 40 days. Write down what it is you expect to accomplish. Now I want you to go back. First 30 days, I want you to write action steps. What do you need to do? And you can have 1 step, you can have 5 steps, but don't write more than about 5 because you don't want to start off overwhelming yourself, because if one of your internal beliefs is that in order to achieve your goals, you will have to be overwhelmed, you will find that you'll list 15, 20 things, and then you won't get anything done. I just want you to list 5. Then 5 more, and then 5 more. And then what will happen is at the end of that first 30 days, take an inventory of what you accomplished and what you didn't accomplish. And you may even discover that some of the steps that you were going to take in the second and third phases have already happened, because things will be connected to other things and that you need to take different steps. So now, let's recap. You get 85% of what you expect, okay? You achieve 94% of the goals that you set. You only achieve 3% of what you want to achieve if you don't have any goals. So, have some goals. You're going to watch your judgments. You're going to write down all of them. 1 column for positive, 1 column for not so positive. You're going to review that list of somebody that you really love and the things that you do for them, and you're going to start to love yourself like you love them. You're going to do forgiveness. You're going to forgive yourself. You're going to do that any way you find that works for you. If it's writing a letter, if it's saying, I forgive you, there's simple ways. I forgive any person that's caused me harm. And then you're going to ask people to forgive you. And I ask that you forgive me for causing you harm. And then you're going to forgive yourself. You're going to forgive yourself for all of the mistakes you made. There's no such thing as a sin. Sin just means you missed the mark. Everybody does it. You're going to forgive yourself for it. And then you're going to get off that cross, remember, because we need the wood, all right? And then you're going to create a system of positive thinking. And as you create the system of positive thoughts, you're going to do that 2 to 3 times a day so that it becomes a part of who you are. I want you to send me an email. Let me know how this works and what changes you've made in your life, because I would be really interested in telling your story of success on my show. If you have additional questions, reach out to me. I would love to answer those questions and then share that question with my audience. I want to thank you for this time. I want to thank you for the commitment that you've made in changing your life. I know you all heard my little timer go off. That lets me know that we have come to an end of this segment. I've enjoyed it. I want you to do not go gentle into that night. I want you to find a hill and climb it. I want you to know that you are the master of your soul. You are the master of your fate. Remember to dream big, and life is too short to drink cheap champagne. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, the Empowerment Doctor, and it has been my pleasure.
But life's too short to drink cheap champagne, so I decided to buy me a better brand to taste with my strawberries. What a high, lemon bubbles in the sky, on the beach with